Hello, I'm Liam Neeson. I played Detective Frank Drebin in the film Naked Gun. Frank Drebin, he's a very committed police inspector, but he's bumbling. He's not stupid, but he has a naivete to him. Finds himself in situations and kind of does the wrong thing, but with the right attitude. And it lands him in lots of precarious situations that he has to, hopefully in a funny way, find a way out of, you know. Why did I want to be part of this comedy? Well, Seth MacFarlane, who's an old pal, called me up a couple of years ago and dangled the idea of me doing this reboot of this character. And I said I was interested. It's as simple as that. Akiva was terrific to work with. He's from the world of Saturday Night Live, and which is a very funny show. He's very smart. He's a comedy nerd, I would say. I mean that in the best possible way. Very good writer. And this genre is kind of new for me, certainly feature film, comedy genre. So I relied on him a lot. He was terrific to work with. Our film has, I would say, the same tone as the originals. Hopefully a lot of giggles for the audience. Some funny stuff, situations that the characters find themselves in. Yeah, a lot of giggles. Do I think this honors the originals? Yes, I think it does. It certainly does not insult them. And it is called Naked Gun. Pamela Anderson plays the femme fatale, I guess, is the best way to describe her character, who's very beautiful, sexy, and funny. And Pamela is all that and more. Any scene with Pamela Anderson was terrific, and I always looked forward to it and to working with her. I think we got on well. She's certainly become a new pal, Pamela. She's terrific to work with. No big ego, no airs and graces. And we had a few laughs on set, yeah. Beth and myself, we try and solve the crime, big crime in the film together. Not always. We're butting heads occasionally, but that's part of the fun. Walter Hauser plays my sidekick, Ed, in the film. I hadn't met Paul before. I'd seen him in a couple of films. He's very, very good, very, very talented, and hilariously funny. I think it's important we as human beings, as groups, sit together and see entertainment, i.e. movies, cinema, in theaters. It's a thrilling experience. It is, especially when it's a comedy, to sit together with a bunch of strangers and laugh at the same stuff, giggle at the same stuff. I think it's very important for our souls. What will fans like about this film? I hope they will love it. As I say, give audiences a few giggles, maybe a couple of belly laughs.
I'm Pamela Anderson, and I play Beth in the new Naked Gun. How did I become involved in this project? Well, I had to audition. I had an audition with Akiva Schaffer, who shared my audition tape with Liam, and I was lucky that they offered me the role. Well, I've just kind of restarted my career, so I did Broadway, and then I did The Last Showgirl, and I thought it would be a nice juxtaposition to do a high comedy after doing a drama, and so that was exciting to play with. And plus, I really respond to comedy. And in this case, I mean, the fact that they even thought of me for this was so exciting. And so I'm glad I did it. I love the Naked Guns. I thought that they were really funny, and they're just such crazy, silly comedies. And I think, the world needs that right now. I think everyone needs a good giggle. And this movie definitely has some of those in them. Liam's fantastic. I mean, everyone, I think, is going to fall in love. I think it definitely honors the old, and having Akiva direct, I mean, it is comedy. I know people say comedy is hard, but comedy is timing. It's, there's so much that goes into it that, I mean, it's definitely the inspiration comes from the original Naked Gun, but he definitely put his own twist on it. There's definitely some Akiva moments in it that are like no other. I work a lot on the character before I even get to the set. I like to bring a lot with me and then just be flexible enough to work with the director on the character. And I feel if it's a drama or a high comedy, you still put the work in. So we talked a lot about her backstory and the storyline. And he's very, like I said, again, scientific with the jokes, but I also really wanted to bring honesty and authenticity to the character and vulnerability. So it was a collaboration, but I see some very sincere and tender moments, which I don't think you'd really expect in a film like this, so I was really proud to see that. I'm familiar with Liam's career. He's had such an incredible career, starting in theater and just kind of being part of this acting royalty, from Schindler's List and all the other films he's done. So it was intimidating. I was afraid to meet him. I was literally shaking the first day I came to rehearse our first scene. But once we got going, I mean, he's such a gentleman, he's such a sweetheart, and he's so giving and generous, and was so complimentary and supportive that, you can't help but fall in love with Liam. I think the montage is some of my favorite. I really loved all the snowman scenes. It was really cute. But it was all fun. I mean, it was all exciting and fun, and yeah, I mean, I love the connection. And like I said, it's very interesting to work with such an incredible actor, because I'm just soaking it in like a sponge. I feel like I'm new at this, so I really, pay attention and watch and observe him, and on and off camera, how he conducts himself is really incredible to witness and to learn from. I mean, it's just, one laugh after another. I think it's really funny. I think that people are going to love all different parts of it. There's definitely an audience for this. It's a genre, but silly, busting out laughing. It's really wild. And people are hopefully they're going to love it. I'm a big supporter of going to the theater. I love going to the theater, and any movie is seen best on a big screen. And with all the stunts and the craziness, everything going on, and there's a lot of stuff, there's layers. Like if you see it once, if you see it the next time, you might see something different. There's a lot of references and funny things in the background, and so I think it's much better on a big screen. And it's definitely one of those movies you need to have, like, candy and popcorn and friends, and you'll get a kick out of it. Much better in a theater.
Hey, what up? I'm Paul Walter Hauser, and I play Ed Hawken Jr., I suppose, in this beautiful reboot of the Naked Gun series. Ed is the kind of guy who really takes his job seriously, and at the same time, he is forced with sort of dealing with the fumbles and the stumbles of his partner, his senior partner, that being Liam Neeson in the role of Frank Drebin Jr. Frank Jr. and Ed Jr. really love each other. They are like brothers or uncle and nephew, mentor-mentee. And in this story, they get tangled up in yet another mess, not unlike what their fathers had to combat in the original films. And I like to think that that friendship is tested and stretched, and in the end, you see that these two guys, no matter what the case is, no matter what turns it's taking, they're always going to have each other's backs. I like to think that Ed respects Frank so much that he's never trying to make him feel lowly or bad for screwing something up or misinterpreting something. He loves him too much to really reveal that. Liam Neeson's the best, dude. I've been a fan of his for years, but seeing him in this role, you know, he really owns the comedy and commits. And off camera, he's very funny and self-deprecating and is willing to just jump into the spirit of improvisation, which is what you need in a movie like this. But playing off him was a blast, and it was very much me trying to sometimes be the straight man to him, which I'm kind of used to in other movies or TV, being the really wild person. So it was nice to take a back seat and let him kind of be the butt of the joke while I'm kind of the audience POV sometimes. When you go back to the original, you know, Police Squad or Naked Gun, even the Leslie Nielsen film Airplane, people then associate Leslie Nielsen as having been a comedic actor, but he started off in drama. And it was that sort of straight-laced, dramatic delivery that made him so perfect for those original films and the ones that came after. So we really, I think, had that same style in mind and thought, you know, who better than Liam Neeson, who we've all come to fear and respect as these authority figures and mercenaries on screen. But he also has a fatherly, endearing quality to him. So I really think Liam ended up being the perfect person to take over the threads and absurdities of Frank Drebin. Liza was amazing. I wasn't familiar with her work, and she came in and was just an absolute like spark plug. She was just constant energy and good vibes. And then I found out she has like 100 million followers on Instagram or something, and she's a very accomplished creative, very much a DIY spirit. And she brought a really good energy to the set. And I remember when she was leaving, we didn't want her to because she was so much fun. I'm just like super stoked to watch this with an audience, like a packed theater somewhere, because I think waiting on those reactions and being like, is it going to work? Is it going to work? And then getting the laugh, it's very satisfying. I come from a stand-up comedy background, so the idea of sitting in the back of a theater and kind of winding up and knowing where the jokes are and seeing how they play, I mean, that's going to be so much fun. I think this is Akiva's fourth feature, if I'm not mistaken. So what he brings to the table is equal parts loosey-goosey, let's try, let's have fun, let's play with this. Also showing up and just knowing what you want and what you need. So there's a finiteness to him that's really professional, but then there's also the fun malleability that we've come to expect in the wacky comedy he's helped co-create. And that's all you can ask from a comedy director. They bring professionalism and they've done their homework and they're ready to go, but they can also be moved by the sort of spirit of comedy in the moment and be willing to kill their creative darlings and just try something totally new. We all know this crime genre where cops are taking themselves seriously and crying in the rain and firing their gun in the air at a gravesite. Like, there's that sort of melodramatic steroidal intensity that we're obviously doing a send-up of and having fun with. And, you know, I think we're due for one of these movies. Naked Gun is something we need right now. We need to laugh. We need to laugh at something that's trying to take itself too seriously and is being overly intense. And we need more Liam Neeson. That's just my take on the matter. I think there are certain genres that beg to be seen in a packed theater opening weekend. Horror films are great in person with a full theater, and comedies are amazing. There is something chemically necessary that happens to your body and your brain when you sit in a room full of strangers and have a laugh. It happens at stand-up shows, and it happens when you're in a movie theater watching a Naked Gun movie. So I really hope people treat themselves and just unplug from the crazy world and come into our crazy world of Frank Drebin for just 2 hours. I think you're really going to be pleased with the outcome.
My name is Danny Huston, and I play a character called Richard Kane, who usually has a scar right here, and I'm revealed to be rather evil, one could say, for the viewer, but that's not how I think of myself. Richard Kane is, I believe, somewhat of an archetype evil guy, but he has a plan, and he's not particularly happy with the condition of the world today, for reasons that I'm sure we could all share. And he wants it wiped clean so that we can start again on a better footing, and create something which is pure and beautiful, opposed to what we have today, which maybe has been tainted a little bit by things such as social media, and a world that has been somewhat spoiled. The basic plot line is one that belongs to most film noir. It's a detective who is uncovering a crime that has happened. There is a femme fatale played beautifully by Pamela Anderson. The detective played by Liam Neeson, as I'm sure you're aware. And it is a plot basically having to uncover what the crime is. It's quite evident that I'm suspicious in this situation. That's not a surprise, and it's set up early. I like Frank Drebin a lot because he also shares somewhat of the same sensibilities as I do. There's a real delight in my meeting him. He's also kind of like an old-fashioned guy, and sees the world having changed, and believes more in an old-fashioned approach, and in that he really is a sort of a kindred spirit. Pamela Anderson as Beth is extraordinary. She unbelievable. I'm utterly smitten. She's a combination of Rita Hayworth, Marilyn Monroe. She's Mae West, Jessica Rabbit. But she's actually none of them. She's Pamela Anderson, and she has approached this in the most coquettish, attractive, fun, deceptive way. I love working with Liam Neeson because we know each other, so we can try stuff out without it being too much pressure between us. I like and hope to think that we're there for each other in a sense. And early on, we decided that if things got a little too funny, that we wouldn't look at each other in the eyes. We'd look at each other in the forehead. So that's our safety zone. Is we just look at each other a little higher than we should, so that we don't crack up, because things do get a little funny at times. I received a call from Akiva, the director. I was given the script prior to the phone call, and I also emailed Liam, who I've worked with before, and I read the script, and I was I laughed out loud. There were things in it which I thought, I don't know how some of the things were going to be possible. Speaking to Akiva, I realized that he was approaching this in the film noir sense of the word. He was going to light it richly. That the costumes were going to be, beautifully designed, and the lighting and the texture of the piece was going to be something that if you could freeze any frame at any point, you would get something that was beautifully made. I was a big fan of the Naked Gun movies, and also the airplane movies. I was a big fan of them, and I liked all the political incorrectness, which I don't know how they would play in today's world if they were released today. But that's also a certain nostalgia. And again, that's where I trust Akiva completely. I know he's got my back, but that we can push it a bit as well. So we try, and he will be the judge of whether it works or not. Betsy is an extraordinary designer, and she really helped me a great deal in defining the character of Kane. The first few days where I was really looking to define him, the wardrobe offered me a great deal and helped me create this man. He's quite tailored. He has these beautiful suits that cut a silhouette, sort of tailored silhouette, and I could literally feel the light sort of caress my shoulders and define what the character looks like. Yes, it's screwball, it's slapstick, it's smarter than that. It's all of those things. That's why they like it. Yes, but also comedy is it's a wonderful, entertaining thing. Entertainment and light entertainment, and something that's fun and just makes you laugh is sometimes something that we desperately need. Laughter is contagious, and if you hear somebody else laugh at something, it allows you as well to join in. So there's a participation of being able to see a film together as a sort of community of people and enjoy that night out.
Hi there, my name is Kevin Durand, and I play Stig Gustafsson in The Naked Gun. I got involved just because I got sent the script, and I think they were checking to see if I would be interested in playing the character. But funny enough, I was on a party bus with my friend Matt Bettinelli Oldpan. He was asking me, what do you got coming up now? And the party bus, we were going theater to theater, sneaking in to see Abigail, the film that we had done together. And I said, well, I got this offer for this film, this comedy. I never get to do comedies. And he was like, oh, what is it? And I told him it was The Naked Gun. And he said, yeah, my best friend since I was 3 is directing that. And so he went off about Akiva, and I felt like I knew Akiva by the time we finished that evening. So he had been texting back and forth with Akiva, and they were asking me, Akiva was asking me questions through Matt. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a lot of fun. I was a gigantic fan of the Leslie Nielsen films, as probably most everyone was. The idea of Liam Neeson coming in and playing his son, playing Frank Drebin Jr., just seemed like the most perfect thing I had heard of. The comedy is, I didn't know how I was going to play the comedy because I'm pretty rubber-faced and animated, and I've had to hold back on a lot of that because you're playing the seriousness of the moment, and you let the actual situation be the funny part. So it took a little bit of training by Akiva. Stig Gustafsson is basically the henchman for Mr. Kane. He's kind of his go-to man. I run security for everything that has to do with the planet Kane. He's an efficient henchman. At least he tries to be. Liam Neeson, honestly, is one of my great heroes. So in the acting world, so I had been watching him and going out of my way to find his films, and always noticing this very tall, incredibly compelling actor. And I was like, oh, when I grow up, I want to be like him, because I was another tall actor trying to figure out, well, do tall actors get work in film? I really didn't know. I thought that maybe I would only be able to play creatures and whatnot. When I went to set, they said, do you want to meet Liam? He's right around the corner doing fight rehearsal. And I became a little boy, and I got really scared and shy. And they were like, no, he'll want to meet you. And I was like, I don't want to bother him. And then I poked my head around the corner, and he saw me right away, and he was like, Kevin Durand. And and he came and shook my hand, and told me that he was excited that I was there, and that he loved my work. And it's so funny because, they say don't meet your heroes, but Liam Neeson is even better than I could have imagined him to be, and so fun to work with, and compassionate, generous, very committed, fun guy. Pamela Anderson as Beth is pretty genius casting. I haven't gotten to spend a lot of time with her, but immediately what you get from Pamela is just, she has this extreme sincerity and this sweetness and innocence, and she's very, very funny. And I think people are going to be really, really happy with and blown away by what she's doing. The other day, she was doing this one scene, and we were all just standing in pee puddles because she was so funny and so committed, and yeah, she's really terrific. My special training for this was bleaching my hair. It was a rigorous, intense training session where my scalp was on fire, but I was doing it for this character so that I could get into the sand space. And here I am, blonde and beautiful. Dude, you could turn my hair purple. You could shave it. You could put a wig down to my waist. I'm always about trying to look different and be someone else. So I was all about it. Well, I mean, Seth he's cutting edge comedy, and always kind of tongue in cheek and higher thinking, smart comedy. So he's perfect for this world. And I've got my night vision binoculars out from a building across the way, trying to see what Frank Drebin's up to. And there he is with Pamela, and they're kind of on this date of sorts, and the situations that arise, all of the innuendo. Once the drapes are closed, and just seeing these silhouettes, and then seeing through the walls and not having any sense of dimension, the images that came out of it were so ridiculous. And to think that, you know, I'd get to play the reactions to that was kind of hilarious. This kind of comedy is deeply needed right now in the world. We really need to laugh right now. We all do. I sure do. We all want to laugh so bad. I'm always scouring, trying to find something to make me laugh. Well, here you are.
Hi, I'm Liza Koshy, and I play Detective Barnes in The Naked Gun. I was very excited to find out that The Naked Gun, an adored franchise, was in the best hands humanly possible, Akiva's. I was stoked to work with him. He was an incredible director, and also love the Leslie Nielsen to Liam Neeson baton pass, not just because their names rhyme, but because they're both beyond capable of this character. He has a very particular set of skills, that one. It's an incredible franchise. I mean, Leslie Nielsen is a comedy legend who characters that I studied him. So it came from the source himself. There's guns, there's puns, there's double entendres, there's double the fun, there's giggles. As Liam says,
Yeah, a lot of giggles.
Leslie Nielsen set the tone for that time, and we're bringing it back because who doesn't love a good dose of nostalgia? I've watched him for years, so to work with him as a director was a totally different capacity, myself as the performer, right? He gave some really great direction that I didn't anticipate being so clear and so wonderful, because he as a performer understands what a performer needs to hear in order to perform. But he told me, hey, you are acting as though this is a comedy. And I said, you're welcome. But then he said, no, I need you to play it as a drama. The comedy's going on behind you in the background, but I need you to give still, stoic, subtle drama. So I did, and that was just clear and concise. We haven't seen Liam Neeson do much comedy, but what we do know is that he has a particular set of skills that he's developed over a long career. He was absolutely heaven-sent little angel. I adore Liam. He's the cutest, sweetest man on the planet. And when you're that dramatic and that terrifying of a stature, you have to be a really nice person, and he is. Paul Walter Hauser is a masterclass of a human being. How to be a good dad, how to be a good friend, how to be an avid reader on set. He is an adorable specimen that I got to learn and absorb so much from. His stillness, his choices, his specificity is so incredibly yummy to watch. I can't wait for you to watch it too. The Naked Gun is about the son of Frank Drebin, who's thrust into a murder mystery about Pam's dead brother and a billionaire tech giant. You deserve to go see The Naked Gun in theaters where it was destined to be enjoyed. You deserve to enjoy it at max capacity, laughing as loud as you possibly can, with community. I mean, we all know laughter is medicine. So go, heal yourselves, and watch The Naked Gun